This episode of Boruto actually works to tie things in to a character that I'm pretty sure a lot of people forgot about, because I forgot about it. But then that's because I think, well, the character was in the last, and when I was watching the last, it was never about. I didn't really want to find out more about the villain watching that movie because I was under the impression that the series was about to end. So any villain that was introduced in that movie would probably only have their appearance in that movie, but that's because again, I thought that the series was going to end and there wasn't going to be like any continuation to it. But anyway, in this episode, they bring him back, and that's the character of Toneri Otsutsuki. Just for recap purposes, Toneri was in the last. He was the main antagonist of that movie. He kidnapped Hanabi and also wanted to marry Hinata by force. And he also happens to be a descendant of Hamura, Hamura being the brother of Hagoromo, the sage of the six paths. And also Hamura is also the son of Kaguya. Now Toneri's goal in the last was to destroy the earth by using the moon to crash into it because he was fed up, he was tired of people on earth misusing chakra to be violent and start wars and conflict and all that stuff. And by the end of the movie, and this is pretty important, he doesn't die. I'm just recapping this because I know most of you hardcore fans know this. I don't know why, I just get this intuitive feeling that a lot of people just forgot about his ass. But anyway, in the last, Toneri kidnaps Hanabi, alright, to get her Byakugan so that he could use it for himself. Because if you mix the Byakugan, not the Hyuga lineage with the Otsutsuki lineage, you can awaken the Tenseigan, which is what he wants and what he does in that movie. Naruto beats Toneri. They're clashing on the moon, just flying and stuff. And then he lands one hit, and Toneri even mentions this. Oh, like, you beat me in one shot, like, and then he's just like looking up, and then the Tenseigan essence disappears from his eyes. And I think this is crucial. This is going to be very important. Naruto beats him in one shot. Hinata comes in and takes out his eyes, which aren't really his eyes. They're Hanabi's eyes. So he takes back the Byakugan for her sister, and then he gets pissed, and he starts attracting these other eyes onto him. They latch onto him, and then they begin to glow, and it seems like he's about to blow up. He turns into this giant blob, but then Naruto saves him from the explosion, from the blob. Now, the big problem with Toneri was that he was misinterpreting a decree, a message that was being passed down to him, according to him, by his ancestors. But Hamura never wanted him to destroy the earth to begin with. So after he learns the truth about what Hamura's real intentions were, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, he doesn't say that, but he's like, yeah, I kind of suck. And he always wanted, some companionship because he was getting really bored up in the moon. And Naruto and Hinata offer him the opportunity to go back to Earth with them. And he's like, nope, I'm going to stay in this moon. He's kind of like Sasuke in that way. He's like, I'm going to stay here to atone for my sins. Now, in the ending of the movie, he doesn't really say how he's going to atone for his sins, how he's going to make up for his mistakes. But this episode of Boruto pretty much, it was so obvious that I think he's trying to prevent a catastrophe from happening. He can read the stars, he can read the sky, saw a comet or something. He's like, okay, something really bad is about to happen. So to me, it would make perfect sense that he somehow managed to pass down a little bit of this Tenseigan essence, some Tenseigan related ability to Boruto himself. And again, I think it's really super, super important to remember that the Tenseigan, at least the version that Toneri used in the movie, unlike the Rinnegan, unlike the Byakugan, and unlike the Sharingan, can dissipate from the user. We saw it went away after Naruto one-shotted Toneri. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is important is because that kind of fits into the chronology of things. Because one of the questions that I had when we found out that Boruto had this eye technique, I was like, wait, if he had this in the Academy days, then why didn't he use this in Boruto the movie? In the exams, or why doesn't he have it in the manga? And now I think this kind of offers that explanation that is more of like, well, it can go away, so maybe he uses this technique in this arc to fight the final villain, the final antagonist, and then after that it goes away, and then it comes back, before or during his fight with Kawaki. Maybe Kawaki is the villain of this arc. That's something that I've been kind of sort of advocating for. It doesn't mean he's going to get defeated. In fact, it kind of would make no sense for him to be defeated in this arc. But so maybe he goes off to train or gets stronger, and then he comes back to destroy Konoha. But anyway, this is the first time in the entire show that Boruto actually sees his reflection in a mirror and sees this new eye technique, this new eye jutsu that he has, We, the audience, knew about this, but this is the first time he finds out about this. He's acting very weird about it, so the adults come in. And, you know, this episode, I thought, like, there was a line in this episode that made Naruto look like a pretty big jerk. He's like, oh, you know, it can't be the Byakugan because Byakugan, the way that you awaken it is through very hard training. And I know better than anyone else that you haven't done that. Wow. Talk about believing in your kids, Naruto. And, you know, we know it's not the Byakugan. It's a different thing, but it's still kind of like, I don't know why that really bothered me. It's like, dude, like, come on. Like, at least give him the benefit of the doubt. If he's telling you it could be the Byakugan, he's like, no, you haven't trained anything. And I'm like thinking, wait, hold on. Himawari awakened it by playing with a teddy bear. What are you talking about? And then he does explain, well, there are some exceptions to the rule, some exceptions to the norm. Himawari did awaken hers, but that's because she's my favorite and she's special, and you suck, Boruto. I mean, he didn't specifically say that, but it was kind of heavily implied within the scene. Anyway, within the same scene, Naruto asks him, did you steal a scroll? I'm like, why would you ask that, Naruto? Why would you even ask that question? Hinata and Shikamaru are laughing in the background. They're like, oh, you know, he's talking about himself. We get the reference. And Boruto obviously doesn't. But then he's like, the scene, like, takes a turn for the worse because Boruto's like, don't lump me in with that loser. I am not that person. I'm a different person. That's what the series has kept on doing over and over again. Specifically having Boruto say, I'm different. I am not Naruto. This is my story. So again, more father and son animosity just building so that it can get resolved later in Boruto the movie. So the adults conclude that they have to go to the Hyuga clan to visit Grandpa to find out what's going on, which is weird because I always thought that, you know, Hinata would kind of be an expert in her own way and know about like what's going on, especially because it relates to Toneri. But anyway, there's no way that she could know that at this point in the story. But anyway, they go to the Hyuga clan. We see Grandpa Hyuga there, Hinata's father, and I remember it's like, wait, weren't you kind of a jerk, Grandpa? Like, what happened here? Like, I used to think that you were really mean to Hinata when she was growing up, but no, he's actually very caring and loving, at least towards his grandchildren, and he's very respectful towards Naruto and stuff. So yeah, and then Hanabi also kind of, you know, she's very proud to be an aunt. So that was kind of cool. You know, initially when I read the spoilers and found out that Hanabi was coming back to have a sparring match with Boruto so that he could awaken the Byakugan, or at least what he thinks is the Byakugan, but we already know he's not going to be able to do that because it's not the Byakugan. I thought, oh, they're just bringing in Hanabi for a nostalgia shout-out for people to be like, oh, I remember you. I remember Hanabi. But no, now that we found out that Toneri is involved in this arc, it makes that much more sense to bring the Hyugas back, especially Hanabi, who was kidnapped and, you know, who actually got, you know, her eyes taken away from her because of Toneri. So I'm pretty sure that the Hyugas working together can come up with some type of a conclusion in terms of what's going on with Boruto's new eye jutsu. I mean, if anybody would know about Toneri, it would be these characters right here. Anyway, in the beginning of the episode, they're watching a movie with this guy called, a superhero called Kagemasa or whatever. Do you think that maybe Toneri, that maybe he adopted a secret identity to come back to Earth? I don't know, like he has this weird eye thing, which really doesn't give me a good vibe because of its color and also because I think we're at the stage of the arc where they kind of have to start setting up the real villain, the real antagonist. So it's either going to be somebody that we already know or it's going to be somebody new, and if you introduce somebody new, it could be that he is actually the one in charge or behind the attacks on the shinobi. What I'm saying is that if this actor, because we don't even know if he's a real ninja, like he might just be acting and, you know, it could be special effects because this is a movie. But if the actor, all right, happens to be good, then it might be the case that that's Toneri. But then if he's the villain, if he's the bad guy, then it's probably not Toneri because Toneri has changed his ways. And again, he was talking about, you know, telling Boruto like, you know, you actually hold the hope within you to save this world from destruction and of this very bad thing that is going to happen. Also, just a very quick note, once Toneri got the Tenseigan in the movie, he was able to activate this new chakra cloak mode. I call it the unicorn mode. You know, he was fighting Naruto with it in the moon. I do not think that Boruto will get that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that he won't because, first of all, I think you need both Tenseigan eyes, and we know that Boruto only has it on one. And we don't even know if that's the actual Tenseigan to begin with, so I don't think he's going to get a new mode like that. He has the curse mark to compensate for the lack of two eyes with Kekkei Genkai. So yeah, overall I thought this episode was actually the best episode of Boruto that we've gotten thus far. It adds more depth to what we've been getting, and it just ties it in to the last, which, in all honesty, I thought it was very, like that ending with Toneri, if you rewatch the movie, it's very abrupt. So, I mean, I thought, I appreciated the fact that this show is actually, you know, putting in work to tying into other aspects of the Naruto verse, which still relates to the main threat of Shippuden, which is the whole, like, Otsutsuki lineage. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Comment down below with your thoughts about anything I said. Catch you guys later. Take care.